welcome to the Seahawkers podcast from the Podium, Game Day Edition. I'm Brandon Schultz. This week, we heard from a number of leaders on the Seahawks and all three main coaches, as is usually the case. Let's start out with defensive coordinator Clint Hurtt, who was asked whether or not there were challenges that came with being a defensive coordinator for the first time in a regular season game.
The energy and the emotion of everything that's going on, the 12s were outstanding. I appreciate them. They're just as much a win of this as anybody else in this building. The 12s are incredible. But I would just say the energy and the feel of it obviously is a lot different than it was in the preseason. But I always try to keep myself focused and kind of stay in my lane or whatever the case may be. I never get too high, never get too low. Even if I get pissed off at something, I got to come off of it really quick because you got to get to the next call, or you got to have an answer when something goes wrong. So I just always try to stay in the happy plane.
Clint did say there were problems on occasion communicating with linebacker Jordyn Brooks.
Early on in the game, he could not. That was the opening drive. That was a little bit of the issue, was just actually hearing and getting the call in and some communication issues. And then after that, things kind of settled down. Because remember, that was his first time ever making a call in a live situation and whatnot. So, we kind of went through that. What I loved is, don't panic when things go on. The opponent sometimes is going to make a play. Sometimes you can make a mistake. But what you cannot let happen is let things turn into like just a windfall of issues. Just like we can't come back from that. Put it behind you, move on to the next play, and you just keep on stacking them and you'll be fine. So I love the composure that he showed and the rest of the guys through that because it was loud, super, super loud in that game.
One of those communication problems came right before a big play by Cody Barton late in the game, according to Brooks.
I thought it was great. We actually were supposed to call a blitz there, and I think if we would have called that blitz, we'll be in misery right now. They had a lot of yards to go, and so luckily I didn't hear it, and we got another call called. Cody made a great play, saved that for us.
You said the initial call was a blitz, but you couldn't hear it, so they had to change the play call. Is that what happened?
I didn't hear the call, so I just had to call the call, and we got it what we needed right there.
Oh, is that just because of the noise and stuff?
Yeah, the crowd was going crazy. I don't know what down it was, but it was late in the game, about 2 minutes to go, and so the crowd was going crazy, didn't hear the call, so we just had to get lined up and go.
Continuing on with Coach Hurtt, here's what he expects out of Sunday's game against the San Francisco 49ers.
It's a slugfest. Both teams that love to run the football, teams that play hard, fly around and want to hit you. So it's going to be like that for 60 minutes, and it's always a super competitive game. So I enjoy these ones. Playing against them, a lot of respect for the organization and what they do.
Part of the Niners' physicality is driven by their run game. Running
quarterback and with all the read option and things of that nature. So old school option football, it forces you to be really, really disciplined. But the one thing about San Francisco is they're a physical football team. So not only do you have to match the schematic part of it and be responsible for your job in the run game, but also you got to match the physicality, So I always love playing the Niners for that reason. It's a physical matchup.
Unfortunately, though, some physicality will be missing from the Seahawks defense as Jamal Adams will be out with a season-ending quad injury.
Yeah, it hurts because the guy's a great football player. I've said that before. And, so it's a shot. You don't have a lot of guys that's like that. But, like I said, we have so much confidence in Josh and Ryan and their ability. Ryan's obviously proved to us last year he can come out there and help us and do things, and Josh has shown that too. So it sucks, hate it for Jamal. But at the same time, for these guys, they can take advantage of the opportunity, and they've shown they can do that.
Hurtt finds safety Josh Jones to be a competent replacement.
When he first got in here last year, a lot of it was just getting to learn his teammates, coaches, and whatnot, and kind of get familiar with the place. And we started to learn him a little bit, really liked, where he was. And but obviously since he came back this spring, and it was great having him back because we were really excited about his potential and his future and getting him back in the building, and it's worked out great. High energy guy, loves to play the game, really great with his teammates, and really, really good communicator. A lot of times you label the linebacker as being the quarterback of the defense, but the safeties control a lot too. And so you need a guy who's a great communicator, and obviously Quandre's that, but Josh does the same thing from the communication standpoint. So he's done really, really well from the get-go and been able to play in multiple spots too.
Here were head coach Pete Carroll's comments on the loss of Adams.
It means so much to him, and the frustration of having to go through not being healthy is just jumped at him again. And, he's questioning and wondering and all that because he wants to be out here so much. He wants to be with the guys and doing what we do in every way you could possibly want to do that. And so it's really frustrating for him.
Elsewhere on defense, outside linebacker Uchenna Nwosu shined against the Broncos.
He's brought an experience to us. He hasn't been in the league that long, but to us, he feels experienced, and he comes to us with a lot of play time in his background, and he's really tough. He's really strong-minded, and he really sets the tempo in his area of the game up front, and with the guys rushing and playing on the edge and all that. And it's so good to see him come through in that way and get the opportunities and take advantage of it and make the big plays that he did. Because he's really teaching guys, how to respect the game and how to approach it and all of that. And he's really a valuable part of this team.
Nwosu said he was happy to prove his doubters wrong.
I feel like there's certain people out there, talk critics and, writers and all that stuff that just think that or say, oh, he's this, but he ain't this. I feel like people still sleeping on me. I feel like I'm still underrated, which is fine. I've been that my whole life. But I feel like I'm just trying to work to be able to put some more respect on my name, and just this is a step in the right direction. I'm going to keep it up and just keep trying my best to keep proving myself.
Looking ahead to the 49ers game, Coach Carroll was asked if he and the team can take much away from last week's monsoon game in Chicago.
It really was a mess, and it got worse as the game went on. You got to hand it to Chicago. Chicago's down 10-0 in the middle of the third quarter, and they really hadn't done much, against that defense. And then they found a couple plays and got down the field and took advantage of a turnover and really came through in big fashion. And then once they got ahead, the clouds just opened up and dumped on the game, and it was really hard to function. It's as hard as it can rain. And so it made a comeback really difficult. It was really more about Chicago taking advantage of the opportunity and coming through and getting it done than anything else. Because the Niners were in charge of that game. They were running the game and they had it, and it just flopped.
Pete also talked about the threat posed by 49ers second-year quarterback Trey Lance.
We've seen him quite a bit now. We played against him in all of that. He's a very versatile athlete. They know what they got. He ran the ball 13 times in the game, so they're using him. It's a major concern. He's really effective getting the ball down the field. He's had big plays all throughout his time playing. Hit a couple big ones in this last week. So we understand this guy and respect him at this point, and we know that he's very dangerous and makes a lot of guys effective in the game because he's such a threat. So we have to deal with that.
Before we move on the subject of the 49ers and the Seahawks, Carroll was asked if he thinks Richard Sherman, who has been spending time around the facility lately, would ever consider being a coach.
Oh, he's going. He's leaving us in the dust. He's got all kinds of stuff. He's going to be all over the media and stuff. I don't think he wants to coach.
Let's hear next from the third of the three main coaches in offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, who spoke about the 49ers defensive line.
Yeah, I think it starts with, starting with Bosa there and Armstead. Like, these guys are just nonstop collapse in the pocket. And so, really being aware of that, really understanding how we're playing, a different style of defensive line that we're going against, understanding the techniques that they want to use. And then also going into our first road environment of the year, doing a great job, getting off on the ball on the snap there and not letting them have that defensive home field advantage. And really that's about us being efficient, having a good huddle operation, getting to the line of scrimmage, being able to get our cleats in the ground and really being in that attacking mindset, knowing that, hey, the flip side of that is they want to be in those known passing situations, get those all their exotic fronts that they have going and get those pass rushers rolling.
Star wide receiver DK Metcalf also touched on some of the challenges presented by the 49ers defense.
I mean, they mix it up a little bit. I know they have two vet corners, in Mosley and Ward, and two young guy, one young guy in the secondary, and then a vet from Chicago. But their D line is, hungry, going to shoot up field fast and hard. Nick Bosa is one of the best defensive linemen, in the league right now. So taking care of him is going to be, crucial to start every play.
Before we get to injury news, let's hear from Geno Smith as we continue on hearing about the thoughts on the 49ers defense.
You gotta goes back to what he said about working the pocket and being really strong in the pocket. They have a great front seven. They have a great defense overall. And another test for us as an offense is going to test our offensive line, going to test our running backs and protections. And so, really for us, it's doing what we do best, controlling what we control, and playing our game, but also being mindful that they do have a lot of great guys on that side.
Smith also spoke about his now famous quote from Monday and whether or not he planned it in advance.
Yeah, that was just spur of the moment. And, it really just means, I didn't respond or I didn't pay attention to anything that was said. But, the wording and all that type of stuff just kind of came to me and really was just spur of the moment.
One thing that Smith seems to have improved upon since the beginning of his career is his pocket presence.
In order to develop pocket presence, it just takes a lot of drill work. Our quarterback coach, Dave Canales, and even Austin Davis, they take us through a ton of drills. And, Coach Carroll likes to show it during the team meetings, just how those things show up. And so all the drill work that we do during the week, those things show up on game day. And obviously there's ways to improve and things that I can improve on as well, with the pocket presence. But overall, it's just a ton of drill work and just, repping over and over and over.
Lastly, Smith was recently inducted into the West Virginia University Hall of Fame.
It means a lot. I know it means a lot to my family. Just going to college, was a big thing for me. And obviously, had a lot of great memories there. And just to be honored in this way is extremely special to me.
Now on to injury news, starting with rookie running back Ken Walker.
Kenny made it through the week and just walked off the field with him, and he's really excited to be ready to go.
And how about Jamal Adams' recovery timeline?
I don't know the long range of it. He's going to get worked on here in a couple days.
Now an update on cornerback Justin Coleman.
He just felt his calf tighten up a little bit, and he thought he was fine. Wanted to finish practice. We held him out. He got some pictures taken here just to validate what's going on, but it was like 12:30 or something like that, so we don't have the results back yet.
Seahawks starting left guard Damian Lewis.
He's ready. He's ready to go. He did everything in practice, so he's ready to play in the game.
Cornerback Artie Burns.
Artie got a little work today, and this is the most he's done, and he's close. It's going to be hard for him to play this week, but he's finally getting back on the ground and running and doing some stuff, and he was at practice today.
Rookie free safety Joey Blunt.
Just tweaked his hammy late in practice yesterday, and it's a real slight pull on it, but it's going to be hard for him to make it this weekend. So, but it's about as minor as you can get, but it did register, so we know he's got something.
And finally, an update on 49ers tight end George Kittle.
He's a huge factor, and I know he did run around today at their practice, so I don't know how much, but he was on the field and practicing with them some. He's an excellent player. He does everything. He's explosive in his blocking and his running, and a fantastic catcher. He's a really good route runner. But probably above all that, he's a great competitor. He's really the real deal. And so, we respect the heck out of him, and he's a difference maker if he's playing.
And while Kittle did not practice most of the week, he is now listed as questionable on the San Francisco 49ers injury report. Daniel Brunskill is the only other player listed with a status. He'll be out, and he is listed on their depth chart as backup center. Looking at the Seahawks injury reports, Seattle will have cornerback Artie Burns listed as questionable. Free safety Joey Blunt and cornerback Justin Coleman were initially on the injury report as doubtful and questionable, and now they've been updated to be out for this game on Sunday. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to Wilson Kahn for producing this episode. You can follow him out on Twitter at Wilson_Kahn, C-O-N-N. You can follow me out on Twitter at SeahawkersPod. We're going to be chatting today in our Discord. If you want to become a part of that group, you can head on over to getintheflock.com. You can join at $3 and above, and that'll get you an invite into the Discord group. You can chat along with us. We're also going to be going live after the game to react to what we see against the San Francisco 49ers today. So be sure and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/SeahawkersPodcast. Hit the notification bell. That way you know when we go live. And so until then, go Hawks.